Hello, and welcome to the Naked Rooster Garage. My name is Ron. My disclaimer is that I'm an old, senile, disabled, half-crazy person. I may not remember the correct terminology, and I may say something wrong. My thought train might get derailed. I can be long-winded at times. I try to break things down so that even beginners can learn. This is a 1969 F250 4x4, commonly referred to as a highboy. I bought this truck about a year and a half ago up in Beloit, and it's a truck that was always local to Beloit. It started its life out as a snowplow truck and I can't remember which is which, because you'll see that in a minute here. But anyhow, I believe it was a car dealership or a garage, one of the two. Anyhow, it started its life out as a snowplow truck, and as you can see, it's got the snowplow bracket on it. And yes, I do have the original snowplow, or what I'm led to believe is the original snowplow for it. Came with the truck, and I'm not an expert at snowplows, but it's a Meyer snowplow. Can't remember what. I think it's like C8. Oh, ST90 snowplow. Anyhow, it was sold. The original owner sold it to another guy there in Beloit, and he used it for either a car dealership or a garage, and I don't remember which was which. And this is the story that was told to me by the gentleman I bought the truck from. He was selling it for his brother, who was an older gentleman and didn't really drive it that much. Anyhow, so the car dealership or garage, whichever was, the second owner, they basically just used it around Beloit, doing some snow plowing, mostly for his lot, his business lot. And then he sold the truck to basically the owner that I bought it from. And like I said, he was an older gentleman, and he bought the truck to basically just do, haul off branches, stuff like that to the dump, and to yard work, stuff like that. And he just used it locally. Supposedly he didn't drive it very long because it has manual steering. And as you can see right there, it has a manual steering gearbox. Now I know some of y'all are going to ask me, well, are you going to eventually change it to power steering? The answer is no. I personally like manual steering. But again, we'll see how well it does out in the rocks and the woods and stuff like that, because while I am doing a lot of body work and stuff on it, I'm not doing a showroom restoration. I'm just doing just to make it solid and usable again. And I'm trying to keep it bring it back to much as possible how it was originally, but I'm doing all this myself, so while I would like for it to be perfect, I know it's not going to. I have realistic expectations. Doesn't mean I'm not going to strive to make it perfect. Anyhow, so this is the Ford FE engine, and supposedly it is a 390. Even though on the block, can't really read what that says. I think it says 352. Not sure what those casting numbers are, so if somebody knows what those casting numbers are, just put it down in the comments at the bottom. I'd appreciate it. Anyhow, there's really not too much difference between on the outside there's not really any difference on the 360 and the 390. The internal differences are a little bit are different. I think the 390 has a little bit bigger bore and stroke, if I remember correctly. And if you guys know, go ahead and comment it down below. Anyhow, so it did have a tag on the coil bracket, metal tag, and the tag said 390. I took it off and put it in a Ziploc bag, and I have to find out where it is because eventually I'll put it back on there. Can the tag be removed and changed? Yeah, it could have been. So that's no guarantee, but it was on there when I got the truck, so I'm going to put it back on there. All right. I started working on the body work on this truck, and as most people who have worked on vehicles before, they know that one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. So one of the first things I was working on was I was going to replace the radiator support, which goes here and over to that hole over there. That's the only two mounting points for it to the frame. Now the fenders and everything bolt to that too, so it makes it more rigid. So anyhow, in order for me to get the radiator support off, I went ahead and took the passenger side fender and inner fender off. Well, the inner fender was bad shape, so I would have had to replace it anyhow. And the outer fender actually it's repairable, but it's got some rust and damage to it. So just so you know what I'm talking about on the damage of the inner fender, is it was rusted like this, only 10 times worse. Okay, so this is the underside view of the inner fender passenger side, or right hand side. And where that big hole is where the hood hinges bolt to. So needless to say, the hood was not attached to that. Okay, so what they did is they actually took door hinges and self-tapping screws, and they connected them here and to the hood itself. Well, that's unacceptable for me. This truck deserves better than that. So anyhow, when I got this truck, you had to, let's see, how was it? You had to turn a toggle switch on, turn a knob, turn the key on, and hit a push button in order to start it. So one Sunday evening, I didn't even have it off the trailer yet, and I was like, you know, I can't handle this, you know, because you really had to go in a certain manner in order to turn it on and get it started. So I went and got underneath the dash and basically tore the wiring harness out and went through it and troubleshot it, and there'd been a wire that was burnt. And basically I capped that off, taped it off so that it wouldn't short out, and basically put it back to how it was originally. One of the switches to start it, they had run a hot wire out here. I think it was the push button switch. They had run a hot wire out here to the solenoid, and it's fine. It's just like using a remote starter. And this is just temporary repaired because I'm gonna go back and solder and heat shrink the wires and try to make it look at a little more professional looking. So this truck does run. It did run. When I picked the truck up, it didn't have a seat. The seat that's in it, you'll see in a little bit, actually came out of a 69 cab that I picked up in Nebraska. And the driver's side door was not connected. Not installed, I should say. But I made up a little boat gas tank. That's my little cheater gas tank. And it doesn't have a fuel tank in this yet either. And so basically what I did is I took and put a filter on it, got me a little electric fuel pump, and some hose, and I ran some cables over and then put some clamps on it so I could clamp it to the battery. This truck runs solid. Coldest day of winter, I went outside and pulled the choke, hit the gas twice, or pumped the gas twice, and hit the key, and it fired right up. So, and I'll show you that in a little bit, but it has like 82 or 84,000 original miles on it. Okay. This thing, when I got it, it hadn't been licensed in probably 10 years, which means it probably really hadn't been started in 10 years. Anyhow, me and the guy, we got it fired up. I drove it up on the trailer, strapped it down, and quite happily, I might add, towed it home. Okay. This does have manual brakes as well. Probably not going to change that either. I'm more of a kind of guy that keep things original. So anyhow, I ended up taking the inner fender and outer fender off, got the radiator support off. As you can tell from this, what I'll show you right here, is the radiator support is shot. Okay. It's supposed to have the cab or the radiator support mounts down in this area, down in here, and here to say, it was just sitting there, held on by the fenders. So, like I said before, as you go from one thing to another, it just progressively, okay, well, I need to do this. Okay, you get to that point, you say, oh, well, let me do this first. And so anyhow, it just cascades. Okay, so got that off. Then I started looking, and of course, as you can see here, my cab mounts are shot, which I will replace. I have some rust down here on the firewall, not major, but I'll probably end up cutting that out and replace it. I had to replace the inner cab wall here, and I actually had to make this piece here because you can't buy them. Okay. And if you can, they're rather expensive. I didn't even really bother to look. And then I had to build this, the corner here of where the door, the front of the door. Okay. As I understand, this is the A-pillar, so basically I've more or less rebuilding the whole thing. I had to rebuild, remake part of the outer rocker panel. I did do a video. I wish I'd have done a video from the beginning on how to make this, how to cut it and form it and stuff like that. But on the other side, I will do a video on that. I don't like to fast forward my videos. I may cut out some of me walking around, but I don't like to fast forward my videos because you could actually calculate how much time it takes. Thus, older people, wizened people, and there are young ones out there too, okay, we like these old vehicles, trucks, cars, whatever it is. It makes no difference. I love them all, okay, although I'm a Ford guy, and I'm especially particular to the bump sides. This truck, I don't know how well you can see it. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Has 82,457.3 original miles on it. I do have the glass for the dash there. Not sure what that hole is. I think, well, that was one that they put one of the switches in. I'll end up welding that up. So, anyhow, I think the cigarette lighter went there, but they used that as for one of the switches, and then another one was bolted underneath. But as you can see, the dash is pretty toast. Personally, I like the metal look, but we'll see when I get to that point if I want to replace the pad or just leave it metal. both the doors on this has been replaced. I'm thinking they're 69 doors, but I do not know. I know that actually they're probably newer than that. I don't know what year. I'm not really familiar with a lot of the door panels and stuff like that. And again, the door panels could have been switched out. But I'm thinking it's probably maybe a 71 door, not positive. If anybody knows, please comment down on the bottom, because I would like to know that kind of information. And I can pass it on to other people so that they will also know. Okay, got to replace the headliner. Probably going to go back original style with that. I know they have some perforated ones, aftermarket. Not cheap, but I'm more of an original type guy. So I like it, try to keep things as original as possible. And as you can see, years of dust up there. Not sure what the deal is with the switch on the dome light, so I'll have to investigate that further, but I'm not at that point yet. The seat in here came out of a 69 F250 cab, and this one did not come with a seat or a gas tank. No big deal. I've got a couple seats laying around, and I can always buy a new gas tank, so that's not a big deal. It does have a divorced transfer case. I've taken the heater out, the heater core and stuff out. I'll replace the heater core before I put it back in, but I want to get back behind the firewall cover there. Debating on to change it or not sure. You know, if you think I should, put it down in the comments and I'll consider it. Okay. My battery's getting ready to die here, so I don't know how much long I'll be able to record here before I switch this, have to switch the battery. Anyhow, this is what the inside looks like of the cab panel that I built. I don't have any special tools. I just use regular tools. And as you can see, I've got some good penetration here. I'd like to have that on everything, but I know I'm not that great of a welder, so if I get, you know, some of it looking like that, I'm doing pretty good. I have to weld this up here, right there a little bit. No big deal. You can see the backs of my spot welds. I will have to cut a piece, or put a piece in here. And I've got some rust there to cut out. Some rust there. I think I already said that. And then up in the front, as well as these places down here. Not a big deal. It's time consuming, very time consuming, which is one of the reasons I don't like to fast forward my videos, because I want people to actually see how long it takes. There we go, that's better. As you can see, there's a lift block under here. That's a factory lift block. They actually did that because of the divorced transfer case. And you'll hear that term a lot in the forums and stuff like that. So I'm going to kind of explain it a little more in depth here in just a couple minutes. Probably change out my battery first though. But these highboys, which is one of the reasons they're called that, okay, is because of the lifts on it. Factory. This is a factory lift now. Just wanted to clarify that. Up here in the front, you can tell it's set up just a little bit different, okay, than the standard truck. I'm not that familiar with highboys, so I can't give you an in-depth description of why they're different, but I do know it's because of primarily because of the transfer case. Especially if you look at the prices of how these trucks are going these days. And I've only had this in about a year and a half. And you can still find them out there pretty reasonable. But because the prices are going up, I've seen trucks that didn't have motors or transmissions for $1,500, you know, to $2,000. And well, if you got the money and you want it, buy it. But I'm like most people. I have to do everything on a budget. So it's on this truck, it's going to be time consuming. It'll take me a while, but hey, it's all worth it in the long run. Can only buy, the boss says I can only buy so many parts or things for a truck per pay period, and you know, you got to keep the boss happy. So anyhow, you'll find with most of my videos, I do break them down to beginner level, because I personally, I would like to have more people invest their time in these old vehicles, because you know, they don't make them like they used to. And this truck here, I'm not a mathematician, so I'm just going to say roughly it's, you know, it's 50 years old. I could figure it up, you know, but and honestly, I would be surprised if most of today's cars and trucks will be on the road in 25 years or 30 years. The quality is just not there. The quality of the metal is just not there, or it's not metal, it's plastic. Okay, so anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up. This was the introduction, I guess you could say, of my 69 Ford F250 4x4. One thing I do want to mention is it did not come with a bed. I have a bed off of a 69. I believe it's an F100. The rear bumper is not correct for this truck, but that, you know, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I don't have to drive this one. It's not my daily driver. Never will be my daily driver, because it's pretty expensive to run. Although I will have fun with it, and I will use it as a truck, and I will take it off-road and, you know, have fun with it. So, like I said, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe. Honestly, I don't care one way or the other. I do like to see how many people likes my videos, and I do take criticism or suggestions, advice on how to improve that. I don't always speak the correct terminology, and please put it down in the comment that I said this wrong, I said this, but it should have been this, and I will correct myself in the next video. Okay? I have no issue with that. I learn every day. I'm an old guy, but you're never too old to learn. I believe in education. I'm a self-taught individual. So that's it. Anyhow, thanks for watching the video. I've started rambling and losing my train of thought again. But anyhow, thanks for watching the video, and hopefully I can get this posted soon so that everybody will at least have an introduction to the 69. Thank you very much.